You are watching the Knowledge Gap Foundation.
Alright, what's your argument against principle of proportional causality?
Well, I think that if PPC was true, then no effect could exceed the causal power of its cause. And given that some effects in nature appear to exceed the power of their causes, given quantum effects, we could probably just say that PPC is not universally true.
It's not okay.
So I'm not inclined to really accept it.
For what? It's not universally true. For what?
What do you mean universally true for what?
I'm just saying you said it's not universally true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm asking what? How is it not universally true?
Yeah, we can look at certain quantum effects. We can see that these effects would exceed the power or the power of their causes. They would have more causal power than the cause itself.
Do you know what the principle of proportional causality is?
Yeah.
Can you go ahead and describe it? Because you said power, have more power.
PPC is just saying that no cause can produce an effect that exceeds the causal power inherent in the cause itself.
Okay, yeah. And what are those? You know those three forms?
Three forms?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. I'm pretty sure one of them is just going to be a possibility form. I don't know the other ones though.
Okay, it's going to be a formal containment, intimate containment, virtual containment. Does that ring a bell?
Which one's the one talking about possibility?
That's what I'm saying. None says nothing about possibility. That's what I'm saying. You're just inserting that into the actual what it is.
I could have sworn one of them was talking about something modal.
No.
I could be wrong about that. What's the forms?
Yeah, so virtual is gonna be just saying something virtually can contain something, such as a tree, a seed, for example, right? It can virtually contain a tree. That'd be one form of a containment, and then formal would be saying something has the same quality as the thing that's giving it the cause or the effect. And then you can also in an immanent containment, and for example, with a formal, it could be a stove, giving the quality of heat to something else. That'd be a form of formal containment. And then intimate containment would just be saying something is contained at a higher form. Then it's
to be honest, I don't really want to debate.
Perfected form.
To be honest, I don't really want to debate you on PPC if your argument doesn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, with probability, yeah, I never heard that. I don't even know, but I mean, that's what you say. Hero told you. I don't. Me and Hero don't got the same metaphysics, so I don't.
Okay, well, what's the argument going to be? Is it just regular motion?
Yeah, under a per se causal chain, it can go back infinitely. So it had to stop at a first cause or a pure act being or something that exists that's pure act.
How are you justifying that as a mind?
Then that's when we go into the principle of proportionate causality.
Oh, then your argument does hinge on it.
Well, it stems from it if we're going to argue for him having a mind, but God existing, that's going to be something that's going to come from it, or being pure act. You'd have to concede that God is pure act.
Well, I mean, if you're saying that there's just going to be this first cause in this per se chain, and this being is pure act, I don't really see how that's God to even begin with.
Yeah, it would be God because God is going to be unchanging. He causes everything or causes the chain to actually sustain or be actualized.
Yeah, but I don't see how that, this argument doesn't even establish a mind.
But does that, so do you concede the first argument?
To be honest, no, I have to get clear on some terms. How are you using potential?
Just the could be of something.
And that has ontic?
Yeah, potential can exist. Potential exists, yeah.
What's going to be the motivator for that?
Yeah, so we can see potential, for example, when it comes to learning new concepts. You have the potential to know math or learn a new subject, right? Which would be the capacity to understand it at its fullest, and then the actuality of it is just going to be you actually having full understanding or comprehension of that subject. That's going to be
when you say
empiricism.
Yeah, but I don't take it to be the case that possible world semantics would even invoke any type of.
I didn't even bring up possible worlds. What are you talking about?
We can just say if you say something could be, right? I don't see how that commits you to anything ontic.
But why are you talking about possible worlds?
Yeah, we're talking about what's possible, right? When you say something could be another way, right? How does that commit you to saying something ontic?
It doesn't. It doesn't have nothing to do with possible worlds. The argument has nothing to do with possible worlds. That's what I'm saying.
But you said potential is the could be of something. Right? If I say, it's possible, something could be, this water bottle could be on my floor. I don't see how that commits you to saying that the potential state actually exists. I'm just asking for a motivator for that.
Yeah, I just gave you a empiricism understanding of how we can see potential.
Well, that's just begging the question, right? You're just saying, look, we can observe this sort of capacity for understanding something.
That's potential.
Why would I think?
That's how I'm defining potential.
Wait, so capacity for understanding is potential?
You can have that's just gonna be one form of it. Yeah, the capacity to understand a new subject, that would be a type of potential. Yeah,
But what I think has an ontic state.
because
some
you
sort of state
actually
of
because you actually do have the capacity to understand a
that we use, right? I'm just asking for a motivator for it to be ontic.
useful fiction.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, like when I say, for example, the water bottle could be on the floor. There's no. I could hold the view that that's just going to be a concept, and that concepts don't exist, like Habontic. And that could be like.
Can I? I want to say something.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I mean that's fine, but you were to take that in a real sense, that in a realism sense. That. What, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. You like cut off for a second, but you good.
Okay. In a realism sense, you would take that is actually taking place in reality. Like the effect is there. So you putting the water bottle on the floor, you would experience that effect. Right? You would hold to that at least.
But I don't see how that's relevant because.
No, I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, you can say when you put the water bottle on the floor, the effect is actual. Yeah, you don't need to like appeal to potential states.
How do you then how do you know what it was before if the potential is not actual as well? Because you couldn't say that it was in this location before, because if the effect is within reality, you couldn't differentiate what something was before if that also wasn't the case. How do you make that determination?
Yeah, well, you can say something like, there's not going to be any separate ontic of like potential states. Everything's just going to be actual. So before, like for example, if you have a seed, before the seed grows, the tree doesn't exist in any form, not even virtually. So
So was it always a tree?
To answer the question, right?
Well, how do you know that then?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer. You know the cause, right? The seed and the laws are like some sort of nature of causation, right? But even without potentiality being ontic, you can kind of predict or reconstruct what can happen based on like the properties of the cause, right? The seed's composition, its energy, etc., and then like causal context. You might be able
to conceptualize it, but to concede that the effect is real because you experience it in a real sense doesn't help the fact that in a real sense it was also something else. Because to say the effect takes place entails an actual like potential that was before. You couldn't say that.
No, what's the argument for that?
Wait, so
that's what I've been asking for.
Wait, so do you believe only?
Because then everything would just be the same.
Yeah. So wait, do you believe only actuality exists? Only things are like things don't go. You're just saying change doesn't exist. You're saying only things are actual and potential.
I don't accept your account of change. Right. This is the problem with the Aristotelian metaphysics. I don't accept the Aristotelian account of change.
So you believe?
But look,
okay. So how will you describe change? Tell me your view. How do you describe change? Hello?
Oh yeah, I'm here. I would say something like if some type of object has one actual state at time t1 and then a different actual state at time t2.
So you don't actually, you can't actually describe. You can't even describe how change happens. So you're just saying at t1 it's this and at t2 is this. It doesn't actually give you the understanding on.
No, look, change is going to occur when an object has a property that didn't have before, or like loses some type of property that didn't.
Yeah, that's not telling us. That's not telling us why. That's not giving us the why though.
What do you mean the why?
Well, hold on. You said You said that it's losing a property or gaining a property at T2?
Yeah.
From then T1?
Yeah. Bro, like a leaf is green at T1, and then it's yellow at T2.
Yeah, that's going to be the same.
It loses green and gains yellow.
Okay. The language
it's the same thing. It's literally going to be the same exact thing.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. You're just saying, because all we're saying potential is going to be the could be of something. So if we're saying at T1, this whatever object it is could be something else at T2 and it loses or gains properties. That's going to be an actual state that's obtaining. Right?
No, I'm saying the leaf is green at T1 and then yellow at T2, and that's the change, right?
You just said lost or gain properties, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's not going to be some potential property, though. It's just going to be like
potential
actual
property.
Yeah.
Dude,
you don't need no potential. You just need actual property like transition.
Dude, so you're misunderstanding what I mean by potential. So when I say it's the could be and it's actually something that's real, I'm not saying that potential is going to be something that carries on with the actuality, because that potential is going to be already real, or it's going to be perfected. Whatever it is.
I'm aware.
Okay, then.
But what
what are you talking about?
When you say a leaf is green at T1, right? You're also saying there's this potential state baked into the ontology of the leaf that it could be yellow. I'm saying, what's the motivator for that?
Could it?
Obviously, it could, but you're saying that's baked into the ontology, like it has
Oh my
ontic.
gosh. So like
That's
if
what
it
I'm
could,
asking
so
you.
okay, so if it's real, so if this thing could be the case or it could be real, this has potential. You just agree.
But
You
you're
agree
saying
with
that's
me.
an
You agree
ontic
with me.
state. No, you're saying that's an ontic state.
Okay,
That's,
so
I've been
does it,
asking
so
for
is it, so
motivator.
is it true
What's
or
the
is it
ontic?
real? Okay, is it real or is it true to say that a leaf could turn a different color?
My problem is I don't see how that commits you to saying anything ontic.
Because if you only have actuality, then there's no
Chlorophyll. Chlorophyll. I mean, come on.
What do you mean? What's
Chlorophyll
the
leaves.
argument? What's the argument for that?
Because okay, you can't differentiate. Like everything would just be actual. Like everything would be
Actual
you could
property.
you can't differentiate what something was before
How?
in actuality.
I just
You could
did.
only
You can say a
I
leaf is
said the only
green.
thing I granted you was that conceptually you could do that, but when
No,
it
you
comes
can
to
differentiate it, right? You can say a leaf green at T1 and then yellow at T2. But that doesn't commit you to saying there's a fucking
but that
ontic.
but then okay, to say that you experience, but the thing is it's kind of weird to say that you experience it in a real sense, but then to not say that it didn't have this property before, because that property, at least if we're going to deal with a leaf, would be chlorophyll, that it has this property and then it loses this, or decides to get rid of this property, right, without of the leaf. So in a real sense, ontologically, yeah, it would exist within that leaf, that it had the potential to do that.
Or that just seems like begging the question.
How?
That's a begging a question.
How?
Yeah, I'm just asking for the argument that, like, if it has some type of potential in the leaf, right? The leaf doesn't need to contain yellow, right? In some hidden or virtual sense before it actually turns, right? What I'm saying is all that exists are actual properties at each moment, right? It's explained by some type of causal process. But you want to say that yellow is like in some virtual sense within the leaf. I'm just asking for the argument for that. Even
I
if
mean,
the
I already
yellow
gave it, but I could tackle that. You know, how would you even know that it needs to be this way when you even said that in your language? But my argument is just based on the fact that you couldn't, to say that, like, you couldn't differentiate what any of the
I
acts
see.
are.
Yeah.
All the acts would be consistently the same.
Yeah.
And there would be no before, like no
Before you guys
difference
continue,
between all the
Cap,
acts.
Like
Cap, do you feel like Answers is derailing the conversation?
Yeah, he's question begging, right?
How's he
The reason,
question begging?
look, I'm just asking. Yeah, you said you wouldn't be able to differentiate. What's the argument for that? Because
Between all the acts, because
Yeah.
there's no
obviously,
before, so
even if
they're all
yellow
the same.
isn't already there. The leaf has actual properties that can make that possible.
All the acts would just be the same to me.
Yeah, I see what Answer is saying too. And he's not derailing the conversation. It's actually on point because he's saying that potential doesn't have to exist, or there's no motivator for potential being something that's real within a thing, right? So, like, he's saying, how can you differentiate what is actually actual? Doesn't explain nothing. That doesn't actually explain the question or answer on it.
I just answered the question.
No, it doesn't.
Repeat it.
Yeah,
Wait,
so
repeat the
how can you
question?
how can you understand something being actual or having a state of actuality if only that only actuality exists? How can you understand that? Like, how do you not know this tree could be something else?
Yeah. So, we can say something because actual to me is just going to be purely like concrete, right?
It's real. Okay.
Yeah. So, you don't need potentiality to define or understand it because the actual state is already described by its properties.
Okay,
Its intelligibility is only going to come from observation.
Okay, so
In my view.
okay, can you like still make my question?
Yeah, you were asking me if you deny some sort of ontic potential, how can you understand what is actual, or if like a tree, for example, could be something else?
Okay, yeah. So what was your answer again?
Yeah, my answer was that actuality is just going to be something that's concrete. Right? You don't need potentiality to understand that because the actual state's already fully described by its properties. Right? Its intelligibility is only going to come from observation, in my view, or some type of
observation.
or some type of causal analysis or differentiation.
So like you said, only by like observation. So like, wait, hold on. Is that gonna be something like you're saying only things that are
kind of a
like real in
precept.
reality? You only could like use actuality for, or like
Use actuality for
Still,
yeah, like you said,
that's
only
kind of
things
a
are like
precept.
yeah, you said like things only concrete or things that are only gonna be like real, like
yeah, that's what actuality is.
empirically, or like this is gonna apply to
Yeah.
everything.
We can define or understand it by our empirics.
Okay, so
That's-
like when it comes to like when it comes to like learning something, like a concept, a new concept, you would just say like that person already has actuality at T1, that at T2 they're still already actual, like on this thing. of like learning. Like there's no actual process. The issue is like with your views, like there's no actual process of anything. You're just saying it gains or lose properties, but it doesn't actually explain. Yeah, it's just there. Like it's just already there. That's the issue.
Like you can't differentiate. Really, there's no.
So look, learning is going to be a change in properties, right? Even without potentiality, you don't need knowledge to exist, right? Before learning in T1, right, the person has a set of actual cognitive properties, right? And then during or after T2, right, where they learn, right, new properties are going to be instantiated. Learning is just going to be the transition between actual states.
A transition? Oh, a transition?
Yeah, between actual states.
Okay, in that transition, what is that like? Can you define? Go in depth about this transition. What does this transition mean?
Yeah, it's when new properties are instantiated at T2 that weren't there at T1.
Okay, so is that a change?
Yes, that's my definition of change.
Okay, so you agree that there's a change in that person at T1 then compared to T2?
Yes, that's what I've been saying.
Okay, so is it true that at T1 that they could have learned this new concept?
No, because they lacked a certain like neural structures or like.
So it's not true. So it's not true for them to learn a new topic or like whatever topic we're talking about.
It's the new state's not already there at T1. It only exists at T2.
It doesn't exist at T. Wait, say that again.
Yeah, the new state is not already there at T1. It only exists at T2 because the actual states are distinct.
But it doesn't explain nothing. Here, can you like formalize this? Like, please. It doesn't. I'm not getting no explanation.
How do you want it?
Like, I just want the like motive, or I'm not saying motivation because that'd be like burden switching, but just like explain how you believe potential or like only actuality states exist. You just reject potential. Like, give me like formalize that, please. Put it on screen. Hold on.
All right, so my definition of change is just going to be an object or some type of system.
Hold on.
I'll let you get.
All right, what?
Yeah, so my definition of change is just going to be an object or system at a given time. It's going to be defined by the actual properties it instantiates at that time. Only these actual properties exist. So for example, if we have T1, right, there's a property, green in a leaf, right?
Wait, hold on, before you keep on going, is this right? Hold on.
Let me see.
I'm gonna make it smaller. I'm gonna make it smaller. Hold on. Make it a little smaller. All right. An object or system at given time defined by the actual properties that exist at this time?
It instantiates at that time.
That is instantiates, not exists. Instantiates? At this time. That's what I want.
Yes. So, change happens when a thing has different properties at different times. That's just it. And then, for an example, let's say a leaf turns from green to yellow, right? At time 1, it's green.
Leaf turn to green to yellow. Turn from green to yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
At time 1, it's green. And then time 2, it's yellow.
T2. Yellow at T2.
Yeah, the yellow state only exists when it actually happens, right? There's no need to say it's already there.
We're not saying it's already there with potential.
No, that's not that. Okay.
That's not what we're saying. We're not saying it being yellow is already there. Or like, for example, a water bottle, it's already hot before it's hot. We're not saying that.
No, but you still think that like it's like baked into the ontology though, right?
But we don't believe that's hot at that given moment.
No, yeah, we wouldn't say that
don't...
it's always like okay. For when it turns yellow, right? I feel like we're talking past each other.
That's what it feels like, because I don't even think we like understand like our semantics on like potential, because I feel like you still have a misunderstanding.
Okay, because we would hold to that. Okay, the effect is real in reality, right? Just like you do. Like the yellow is actually yellow. You're observing the yellow. It's concrete, right? What we're saying is that it's also concrete that it was once green, just like what the example is mentioned here. Now, potential is going to entail that it has the capability of becoming yellow at some point in time. That's simply it. I don't know if do you disagree or agree? I don't know.
Well, typically the way Aquinas defines potential, it's just going to be like some sort of power of a thing to become something. It's not yet, but it could be, right? And then they say that. What I'm really denying is that these effects exist in the cause before they happen, right? So the leaf.
Well, yeah, at least not the way you described it. We don't hold to what you just said. But okay.
Yeah, I'm just denying that the leaf contains yellow in any way before it turns.
Okay, yeah, we would agree with that.
Yeah.
We're definitely not saying that. So it seems like we're just talking past each other almost.
Well, Solo
Maybe
was
they're-
defining it differently. I thought you guys were.
No, we that is not correct. We don't hold to
Are you
that.
just saying that, like, at time one it was concrete that the leaf was green? Is that all you mean?
Yeah.
by
Yeah, it's real.
Well,
Like
yeah,
that's an actual.
that it has the
state.
potential. Right. I know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because we believe things are going to be like composite of like potential and actuality. So at like T1, the actual state of it being green is going to be real, right? And then at T2, which was going to be the actualized potential, or if it changing to being yellow or whatnot, that's going to be real. We're not saying that it's going to be real within the potential of it being yellow at that given moment. We're just saying it has the capacity to become I misread that.
Wait, I'm gonna
We're
just
not-
write this down because I feel like we were talking past each other. How do you define potential again?
Potential just means it could be a something.
And that could be has onset. See, that's the problem.
Well, not ontology in the way that you were implying that it was once yellow or has yellow within it.
Yeah.
But rather, how would you explain this?
Yeah, could you formalize it so I can?
Yeah, I'm trying to, because I don't have my laptop in front of me right now. Because it's like, okay, the definition is correct, but it's more like in the way that like I need something to attach it to. Definition is correct, but it's definitely the way that you're thinking about it that needs to be articulated correctly. Let me see one second.
And when you say the could be has onset, are you just saying that at T1 it was concrete that the leaf was green? Because I don't know what you could be saying.
Yeah, the concreteness is just going to
That's
be
the part
grounded
of
in
that.
like it being actual or being real. That's what's going to be concrete. It's going to be its actuality.
What about the potential having onset though?
Honestly, just saying it's possible. Or like when we say here. When we say like potential, we're just, you wanna?
No, I was just going to say ability, like, it has
Yeah.
the ability to do something like water on the stove.
Right,
It
'cause
has
if
the ability to become this because the properties of water allow it to boil or reach a boiling point. Not that it's always boiling or, it had a state before that was boiling and then it gets to that. So, yeah.
Okay, I think we're clear on the talk. I mean, a lot of this is still vague, right? Like, if I might need to just do more research. But when you say ability, is that in the object itself?
The ability to become something else, or like the capacity. Yeah, that's gonna be something real, but it's not gonna be real at that given moment because it's not actual or it's not real.
So it doesn't have ontology until it's actualized.
It's not gonna be perfected until it's actualized. Like we're gonna say it's unperfected or imperfected at its potential state. It's not perfect. It's not actually real.
Okay, cool. Potential has no onset until okay, I think I understand.
Like we don't, because like when we say potential, like we're not saying like potential is gonna be something that's like non-being or like it's like non-existence, right? We agree that it's like gonna be a real state of being, even if it like lacks like certain types of perfection, right? So
It is a
it's gonna have like it's gonna have positive like ontological value, right? It's gonna be a real aspect of a being, but we don't believe it's non-being, meaning it's like nothingless or it's like nothing in reality at all, because then that would just kind of like overlook what something having potential is.
Well, I mean, I guess that just gets right back to my original question. Why think it has any state of being? Can it just be like
Yeah,
a
because you
concept?
well, yeah, but you wouldn't be able to like understand like actuality without potency. That's the thing. Like they're gonna be correlative. Like you can't understand what each one is without the other one. because you can't truly like, because to understand what actuality is, without understanding what potential is, that's just gonna be like saying you understand like it's like you understand what light is or like what below is without above, or like a shadow without light. It's like they're gonna be like relative to one another. They're both gonna be like needed to understand each other.
Okay. I'm just writing all this down. Okay. I mean, I guess I don't understand the imperfect and perfect talk.
Yeah, that's how Aristotle uses like act potency. Like he would just say something which is in potential is gonna be imperfect or not perfect, and then something being real, that's gonna be as perfected state. That's how Aristotle uses potential and actual.
Well, what does it mean for the potential to be perfected, though?
Meaning it like reaches all like everything like it requires. Or here, let me see if I can come like good definition. Perfected would just mean like it reaches everything, or it's at a state of where it's, well, again, it's gonna kind of go back to what I said, like real, or like it's
Like
if I can get like a better
T2.
definition.
Are you saying like reaching full T2?
Yeah.
Okay, what I have so far is potential equals the could be of something. The could be has ontic. What it means for the could be to have ontic is there's going to be some inherent capacity or ability to change within the object. Potential has ontology, but it's in an imperfect state. It's perfected when it's actualized, and perfected means it reaches a state of where it's real. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, and does the potential have independent ontic status, or?
No, we don't believe like they're gonna be like an independent, like we don't believe act potency is gonna be like an independent force or like independent things, right? They're just gonna be how we describe like how a being exists or changes.
Okay, cool. It's independent. Well, I mean, I don't think that like, because I don't think that like, understanding a state only requires like, well, I do think understanding a state only requires you to just look at its properties at that time, right? So when you say that like, we can't understand something actual without some sort of ability or like some sort of ontology within the object to be able to change, I don't know. I just think actuality is just going to be intelligible on its own.
Yeah, but like again, you won't be able to actually like differentiate what it means for something to be actual versus like, no, that's literally it. You literally won't be able to like determine what something is when it's actual. So it's like I don't know, like they're gonna be relative to one another. That's what I'm saying. Like it
seems like you can almost make the argument that that would be pure act. Everything is just acting. There's not actual
right, and
potential within the substance of the object.
I can just say that everything's actual.
But that's just not gonna be true. You think everything is gonna be like pure act, like purely actual? There's gonna be no.
Yeah, everything's actual. There's no potential. At least in the way you define it.
Well, yeah, I'm just using how Aristotle, like Aquinas, would like define it. I don't know how you're using. Like when you say pure act, what do you mean? What do you mean when you mean something's pure act?
I think actuality is just going to be a concrete state of a thing, defined by its actual properties.
Yeah, that's not how anyone defines pure act.
Well, I'm not saying pure act. I'm just saying everything can be actual.
Well, yeah, if you're saying things are only actual, you're saying they're pure act.
What's pure act then?
Pure act is gonna be like having no capacity to change, but to like put change on other things, or like have active potency to put change on others. Because all you're saying is everything's pure act. You're saying nothing has potential, but everything's just actual. That's simply what you're saying. That's all you're saying.
To be honest,
you can make the argument for that. Maybe like it could fall into that. You know.
Yeah.
To be honest, we could just talk about the mind for the purely actual being.
But like with your understanding of like everything being actual, like that would just fall into everything being pure act. Do you not see that? Or I mean, that's how we defined it. Like I don't know how you just kind of, I don't know if this is your own definition.
Yeah, but you're saying by potential it could be, it's like I reject this notion of potential to even begin with.
So where are you getting your
so when
definition?
I say everything's actual, huh?
Where are you getting your definition for this stuff? Like where are you even getting your definitions?
Well, that's just what I learned from talking to Hero.
Okay.
Hero, I don't think he agrees with you on a lot of things. So
Well, you don't gotta keep appealing to Hero.
So
but,
this
like,
isn't a position that you hold to. This is something that you're questioning another person on with their metaphysics.
huh? What position?
You said you got this definition from Hero.
The
You
definition.
don't hold. You don't hold to that definition.
No, that's what I thought actuality was.
you should just read like
Can I
Aristotle, bro.
up somebody else? 'Cause-
Just hold on, wait, hold on, Nana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like,
I'm gonna just move the dialogue forward and just talk about the mind for it purely actual being.
yeah, but I think we're gonna move on. But like, instead of like getting like Hero's position on what he thinks it is, you probably should just read up on Aristotle how they define like these terms. I'm not saying Hero could be like wrong. Maybe you misunderstood what he said or something. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know your conversation. But all I'm saying is like we get our definitions from them. And if you're trying to have a better understanding of the position, of like what it means for something to be pure act, or have something have potency, or something to be actual, then like you should definitely like actually read up on it. Like,
Well, are you good with just going forward and talking about the mind for the actual being?
yeah. So if this here, I'm just gonna make it quick. So like if this being is pure act, it's gonna have a form of containment, which is be like intimately. And this intimate containment, if we have minds, and our mind is gonna be something that's always actual, or something that's always working and it doesn't stop, right? This being that exists is also gonna have it. Because he puts everything in actuality, or sustains all things that are actual, that have potency.
Well, I don't see how that really follows. Because just to say that.
Also, on the screen.
Well, I don't know, because to say that it's purely actual, and just say there's no potential. I don't see how we're getting from that to just the mind.
Because the pure actual actualizer is going to have a form of intimate containment. That's why. That's how all things are going to be actualized, or all things within the chain. The per se causal chain is going to be actualized via imittently.
Yeah, but that's just going to be like a. You think human minds are a pure act?
I never said that.
Earlier you said, because I'm pretty sure I already done. You said, if this being is pure act, it has a form of intimate containment, and if we have minds and our minds are always actual, this being is also going to have a mind.
Yeah, because that would just show like if this being doesn't have this thing, it lacks something, and it wouldn't be pure act.
You are watching the Knowledge Gap Foundation.